Okay, I'll call the meeting to order, March 16th council meeting. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance and remain standing afterwards. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'm going to deviate from the normal statement. I'd like for everybody to bow your heads and remember our infantry soldiers in overseas, in the Middle East, and those that have been killed in action and their families. Please remember them. Captain Seth Koval, according to the Columbus Dispatch, was from Stoutsville. Captain Curtis Angst, Columbus, and Captain Tyler Simmons. Can we have a few minutes to just say a short prayer for them and their families and the rest of the military in this fighting battle? Thank you. You may be seated. Roll call. Jesse?
Here.
Ron?
Here.
Jeremy?
Here.
Dave?
Here.
And Daryl? Here. And Councilman Martin is absent due to illness this evening. Can I have an approval, unless there are corrections that you've noted, to the March the 2nd minutes, please? Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I don't see where there's any presentations. Departmental reports. Do we have any departmental reports? Parks, anybody have anything to say?
All I have, Roger, is we'll be doing a kickoff meeting next Monday, the 23rd, for the new water plant.
Okay,
Pre-construction meeting and kickoff meeting, get that thing started.
okay.
In parks, we're still in conversations about where we're going to help the men's club with help from the business in Circleville to plant an oak tree in honor of our 250th United States anniversary.
Are they still planning on meeting Thursday?
We are Thursday afternoon, still planning on kind of going over the different areas of the park that won't interfere with the 4th or the Viking Fest, but will be a good place where the tree to take root and grow.
Okay. Okay, legislation. I have a second reading for 06-2026. A resolution approving a development and supply agreement and term summary with Edge Connects and declaring an emergency. Are there any council comments or statements?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Okay, I just have a couple questions that I would like to ask our council for the sake of clarity, just to see if we have a similar understanding of where things currently are with regard to the data center in question. So first, would everyone agree with the notion that if EdgeConnect so chooses, there is nothing that we as a council can do to legally prevent them from building their data center? Would everybody agree with that statement on council?
That is correct.
That is correct.
Second, if we agree that the data center can be built, that would mean that regardless of when we vote on the resolution or its outcome, the data center may still be built. Would everyone generally agree with this statement?
Yes.
Yes.
Daryl?
Yes.
Okay. And lastly, and I'll ask for a little bit of tolerance as I attempt to simplify and get to the root of this complicated and consequential resolution that we are being asked to vote on. At its core, a yes vote means that we are agreeing to the stipulations as outlined and determined, and that the resolution as a whole benefits the village. In this case, the benefits are of a fiscal nature, and it further means that we, meaning the government of Asheville, agree to assist EdgeConnects in its endeavor to build the facility in a timely manner through expedited permits, cutting through red tape, and things of that nature. Now, I know I'm not covering all of the nuances of this document, and I'm speaking in general terms, but would everybody in general agree with the statement that I just made?
Yes.
Yes. So conversely, a no vote means that we do not feel that the resolution benefits the village, and therefore the village would not assist EdgeConneX in its endeavor to build a facility in a timely manner, and as a result, will likely not receive any of the fiscal benefits as outlined beyond reasonable taxation. And in this case, EdgeConneX may still build the facility, they will just have to do so on a slower time frame. Would everyone generally agree with this statement?
Generally would agree with that.
Yes.
Great, thank you so much.
So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the readings for the resolution 06-2026.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Roll
You're
call.
suspending or having the reading?
Suspending
Suspending
the rules of having the reading,
Third reading.
the third reading.
We have to get this through the second reading.
Can I say something?
Mhm.
Okay, here's the deal. First of all, is this what's known in the business as an exploding offer? We say, I'm not even going to debate the merits of what we're talking about here. I want to debate the merits of the time frame. I feel like, that's what I want to know, Bert. Is this an offer that if we don't, they've laid out a time frame for us, and it's a very tight time frame. And considering the amount of money you're talking about, the amount of exposure you're talking about, the amount of consideration that needs to go into it, it's a darn tight timeline for that. And all I'm saying is this: we normally take things through three readings unless we suspend the rules. Suspending the rules sometimes comes about because of a monetary consideration. Something has to be paid or something like that. Payroll ordinances, or you get to into budget situations, and you're like, look, I have to have this tonight because it has to be done within 30 days of such and such. That's procedural stuff that we deal with all the time. I think something that just sticks to me, that's something that's going to take years and years and years to develop, has to be done tonight, when it could be looked at the third reading. Take the entire three readings, consider all the facts in general. I just don't understand the urgency of. Are they asking us to get ahead of the school system? Do they want us to make a decision before it goes to the school board?
Not to my knowledge.
I mean, but what I'm saying is they're setting it up as such. If they were going to go to the school board next week or whatever, we meet the first in April, then we have a little bit of an understanding of what their thinking is. If they go to the school board in a week and say, well, Asheville they declared an emergency and passed it as an emergency. What these folks are looking for, and I'm not going to debate the merits of this thing at all, because my last vote on this was not so much against the data center proper. It was against the annexation that I don't really believe Harrison Township was up for. Now, if Harrison Township had come a different way, it might have gone a different way. But my point of the matter is that why tonight? Why tonight? Everybody in this room has a vote. Everybody in this room has a conscience. Everybody in this room has a way of doing things, and I respect them all. I'm just laying it out here that I will be a no vote on doing it tonight. I don't do that for that. But please don't. No.
You do that because you've been here longer than anybody else up there.
Yeah, I guess I have, haven't I?
You've
represented this
Order.
Okay.
Order.
Everybody else.
Order,
I
please.
appreciate it. Thank you. But I've said my piece, and we move from there.
Is there any other
Dave,
questions?
I totally understand where you're coming from. So with respect for why I'm okay with waiving that, or giving the second motion, would be strictly that we're on a tight timeline with the EPA. I mean, we're running out of time there. So
We've been on a timeline with EPA for 20 years, Jesse.
yeah,
So why is a timeline that has been laid out and dealt with or not dealt with the EPA in years, and we are working toward things and doing things like that? All I'm asking you is, what's 3 weeks?
Well, he's
That's
trying,
what-
he's
so let me
trying
ask you,
to
what's
answer
3
you.
weeks?
Let him answer you. He's trying to answer you.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm coming from. It's, we've got,
I
according to
respect
our
that,
engineer,
absolutely.
we've got less than, 6 to 12 months essentially with the EPA. So we need to get started.
Roll call.
You have a
Jesse?
council member not here.
Doesn't matter. We've already checked.
We have a quorum, right?
We have
a quorum.
We have a
Yeah,
quorum.
actually, yeah, we have enough people to,
Vote, roll call. Jesse?
Jesse, aye.
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 no.
Daryl? Here. That's not a vote. It's a yes or a no. Roll call, no. Okay, it fails. It has to have 5 to pass. The next reading, ordinance is a second reading, 2026-04, an ordinance approving an amendment to the contract to create the Madison Township Joint Economic Development District, authorizing the inclusion of certain additional township property within the district, approving a second amended and restated Madison Township Joint Economic Development District contract, and approving an amendment to the annexation moratorium agreement with respect to the same, approving related matters, declaring an emergency. That was the second reading, and it'll be the third reading at the next council meeting. Another ordinance for second reading, 2026-06, an ordinance to make permanent appropriations for the current year's expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Asheville, State of Ohio, based upon the amended Certificate of Resources issued by the Pickaway County Budget Commission for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026, and declaring an emergency. That will be up for a third reading.
No, I need that to
Next.
pass tonight, please.
Pardon me?
I need that.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I need a motion on this one to waive the third reading and pass as an emergency, please.
Is that the budget?
That's the budget.
I'll make a motion to suspend the third reading of the ordinance 2026-6.
2026.
I second.
Jesse?
Yep.
Rob?
Yes.
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 Yes. That vote passes. Okay, that's all the
No, I
legislation.
need a motion to adopt it as an emergency.
Yes.
I'll
Oh,
make a
you-
motion to adopt it.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to adopt, ordinance 2026-06.
As an emergency?
Yes, as an emergency.
Okay.
That's a budgetary.
Second?
Yes.
Here-
Give a
okay.
second.
Jesse?
Yes.
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 Okay, that passes. Thank you. Okay, do we have any old business? Do we have any new business? Water system improvements. Bert, do you have anything else to say?
No, this water system improvement task number 4 is basically just us hiring an inspector through the engineering firm. It's 200 and, off the top of my head, it's 217,000, 227,000, something like that. But we need to include, it's included in the loan amount. I just want the approval to spend the $217,000 for inspections of the new water plant as it's being built.
Okay. So do we need a motion to clarify that? Just vote?
Really,
Just a
more
vote on it?
an advice.
More informational. yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So is everybody in favor of doing that, please?
Yes.
Jesse? Jesse, you okay?
Yeah, Sure.
Yes. All right. Let me ask in this point for council's consideration, the solicitor has offered to come down on an off Monday night when there's no council meeting and have a special meeting to kind of go over the rules of, Robert's Rules of Orders because of all the new council members and some of the old council members. Would you guys be willing to come here at 5:30 or 6? Once I get a date to set with him,
I think if you make probably 6 p.m.
6 would be better.
might be best for those that are outside of the village
6
working.
better?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll go back and check with him on that. See if we can get a date. Okay, are there any other committee reports here? Okay. I will say that the playground equipment for the West Side Park is due in now any week now. And then the service department will start their installation to get it put up, and hopefully before the summer gets here, weather permitting, we'll have the West Side Park up. We are going to put up, after we get some numbers together, a family restroom there with changing station. And also we're putting changing stations in the restrooms here at the main park for this summer. Okay, so you have some then and nows, April?
Yeah, just one.
Okay, I need approval for Bricker and Graydon for Ignite Development of Legal Services for 714625.
Make a motion for that approval?
I think we can just approve it, can't we?
I need a motion.
Give me a motion? Okay, yeah, please.
Yep, I make the motion to
I'll
approve.
Second, okay,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, thank you. Okay. Some audience comments,
Clock's up 5 minutes.
Patty Hamilton. Okay, pardon me? Okay.
Before I start,
5 minutes.
Sue thought she was on the agenda. Is she not on the agenda?
She's on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
Who's that?
Great.
Oh, yeah, here. 5 minutes.
All right. Patty Hamilton, candidate for state representative, and I live at 22798 Morris Sliced Road, Stoutsville, Ohio, 43154. The concern I have is, has the council looked at the petitions that were given to them previously and actually read that? And have you guys actually had any, and I know you can't answer this, but I'm asking these questions kind of rhetorically. The question I have is are you actually listening to the people about this data center? Because unfortunately, I see that the last several months I have been here, and all of these citizens have been raising serious concerns about how big this data center is and the power generation, the water, the electricity. And I'm just kind of curious as to if you are making these decisions in a rush, because it just sounded like you were in a hurry to get this resolution passed. And to me, I'm just wondering, have you actually talked to people? Have you guys went out and door knocked or even just, did basic town halls just to really talk about it? I know you had one, but the one thing is that, the people aren't really informed on the contract. I see that there's a resolution that is posted, but what is the contract going to consist of? The EPA concerns, from my understanding, they were pushed down to 2030. So I'm not sure why there is a concern of rushing everything so quickly unless there's some benefit that we're not understanding and the community is not privy to. And I really actually wanted to remind everyone your oath. Everyone here took an oath to stand up for the people and listen to the people and make sure you're a voice for everyone, no matter how it benefits you. And I know several of you up there were very opposed to the data center, and now all of a sudden you have changed. And it concerns me. I sure hope that you are being transparent with the people and that you're actually talking to your constituents and actually listening to them, because I'm hearing the frustration on the other side. That's not what's happening. So I ask you to please take the time, look at the petitions that were given. I'm sure they're going to be bringing more. And when people testify before the Ohio Power Siting Board, they will be sworn in. And I hope that you do so under oath, that you actually tell the truth about what is going on, because I think there's a lot of people that are questioning what is happening. And I just want to make sure that we're transparent, because we all need to know that. I mean, we all have to live here in this community. And it just bothers me that the communication isn't there, in my opinion, especially if you're rushing something this important and with so much opposition against it. And I thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Take that.
Rick Taylor?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name's Rick Taylor. I live at 5770 State Route 762, Asheville, Ohio, 43103. I want to tell, I don't know if everybody knows, I drive a dump truck for Ronnie Jan, which is a township trustee over there at Sire Township. I worked at a data center last year in Hilliard. Driving a dump truck, I was forced to sign a paper saying I wouldn't get out of the dump truck on the job site. And then turned around and I sit there and I said, what do you do if I need to go to the restroom? They told me, you stay in the dump truck. You don't leave the dump truck. Well, then they was loading dirt on my truck. And before I could leave, I would have got wanded to make sure I wasn't carrying something out. Now, it wasn't no weapons or nothing, because we was taking the dirt to the contaminated dump site on Elm Creek Drive. Now, to me, when you start doing that, that throws a flag up to me that I have to be wanded every time I left there. And they're telling us, oh, it's not going to hurt you. It won't hurt you at all. Well, why do you have to wand a dump truck driver and tell him not to get out of your dump truck? I just don't understand. And I just wanted to come and tell you guys, I talked to Cider Township last Thursday about the same issue in front of my boss that didn't know that I was getting wanded. And he literally had a little meeting with me then afterwards. But I just wanted to inform the people that it's not all peaches and cream out there, I'm telling you. It scared me half to death that I had to sign a paper saying I wouldn't get out of the dump truck, which I've never had to do that in the 15 years I've drove a dump truck, and then turn around and be wanded before I left the property. And they have a squad sitting right there at the exit gate. So I'm just, thank you for letting me speak,
Okay.
and that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Taylor. Tammy Davis? Tammy Davis?
Don't forget Sue Moore.
Pardon?
Don't forget Sue Moore.
Yeah, I think I got a sheet.
She's just on the agenda.
I hope I can actually make sense today.
Down
I'm
here.
Tammy Davis. I live in Asheville, Ohio. And sorry. When I read the Facebook, I know y'all don't really pay attention to Facebook, you say, but when I read the Facebook comment that God put y'all in those chairs to make this decision for the data center, if y'all, and I know that there's a separation of church and state, but I believe in my heart that whatever you believe in your heart and soul makes up what you are as a person. And if you believe in Jesus Christ and you read that God put you on those seats to approve this data center on his land that he put us here to be good stewards of, and that didn't give you pause, it really gave me pause, because I've watched that movie Left Behind from the 90s recently. And back in the 90s, it didn't make a whole lot of sense. But if you watch it now with what's going on, it's a whole different movie, a whole different movie. And I don't envy any of you out there in those seats. I wouldn't want to make this decision myself, but I'm just telling you that you're not just going to be personally responsible to the people in this community when your time comes. I wouldn't want to have to answer for what you guys are going to do. I wouldn't have wanted to do that myself. I really think that y'all should really think past Columbus and look at how many data centers they're proposing around this area. They've already expanded the one at Cider Downs. They want to put one across the street at the Kreitz Farm. I've looked all this up because I had to memorize the names, which is going to be basically across the street from the one at Cider Downs now, or actually across the street from the one they want to build eventually up 752. They could connect all of these together. 23 is just going to be one line of data centers. Patch them over to 33 and 70. It's just, why do they need all these data centers? What data are they collecting? Like RFK Jr., I don't know. He said July 3rd last year, that he wants 90% of the Americans to be wearing a wearable in the next 4 years. We are the data. We are the data. And you guys are just going to take a bag of money for us. You're taking a bag of money for us. And I might be one of 75 people, but I'm telling you, my 10-year-old granddaughter yesterday told somebody, I heard her telling somebody, don't worry about it. My Mimi goes to those meetings. She's in those meetings. She thinks that I feel like failing her because I don't know how to say the right words to do this. But we're 84 days in Ordinance 2513. 84 days into 180 days pause that we were supposed to have so we could heal ourselves as a community. And all this data center is ripping us more and more farther apart. It's ripping us farther apart. And, and there are two House bills. House Bill 427 would allow utility companies to make adjustments needed to residents and small business utility usage. I don't think the data centers are probably going to be, privy, have to go along with that, but they can have all the electricity. But House Bill 646 is proposing limits to where data centers can be located and rolling back the tax breaks. And this could really impact the proposal that's in front of us. And I know that one of the Wigan Road residents who spoke last week gave council a presentation back in December about why data centers should not be here. But if I'm only one of 75, why can't they buy me out too? Because they're doing the people down on 752. They're going to go down Miller Avenue next. Why can't I be bought out too? There's only 75 of us. Why can't you buy us out too?
Thank you. Corey Nasmus.
Good evening. Corey Wasmus, 12930 Gibson Road, Asheville, Ohio. I'm sitting here tonight and looking around, and maybe somebody did this on purpose. I doubt it, but this court is red. I think that'd be a good purposeful thing to do, because this is the people's podium. And you go to these different meetings, and even I'm a township trustee. I go to our meetings, and I'm sitting there, and the podium is usually lower. It's a little bit lower here, but really, if you think about, why isn't this like way up here? This is what matters. Not me personally, but it's the people that elected us, elected you into these seats. And I think about the color red, and I look at your hat, Mr. Teeters, and I see everything there. I see the cross, the blood of Jesus. He died for our sins, coming out of that cross. It's in the middle of his hat. Some of you may not be able to see it there. But I see the flag, the red stripes. And Mayor Clark tonight talked about the fallen soldiers from our community that died. Their blood, that blood red, that died for us to have democracy. And when you think about the Liberty Bell, you see that thing there, and it's usually red, symbolizes filling the crack in the Liberty Bell to restore liberty and restore democracy. And I'm not really here tonight to talk about a data center. That is way lower of importance than democracy. And when you talk about slapping emergency language on something as important to maybe some of these people in this room, or important to you, you think it's important. So important, you got to make it an emergency. But I don't know many people that would think the red on this cord, the people's podium, the red from the cross of Jesus, or the red of the stripes on that flag is more important than putting a data center in the community. I think democracy is way higher than anything we could consider. And you all know, just like we saw tonight, if you want to suspend readings are there for a good reason, so that as many people as possible can hear about what you're getting ready to pass. It takes 3/4 of you. It takes 5 out of 6 to suspend those readings and say, you know what? Let's pass it tonight, as you attempted to do tonight. But thankfully, Mr. Rainey said, wait a minute, is this really that big of an emergency? But if you would have done that tonight, it would have taken 2/3, would have been 4 of you to say, this is a bigger emergency than democracy. Let's pass it as an emergency. And when that happens, it's an attempt to cut this cord and everything, maybe not everything I mentioned that's read tonight, but to say it's more important, the people's voice don't matter nearly as much as this. So if you want to pass it, but at least remove the emergency resolution. And then you go to bat with the people, say, this is so important, don't do a referendum. And if you do, vote it through, because we think it's so important for this, and this reason. That's why we passed it. So pass it if you want to. Obviously, many of you think it's important, but pass it without emergency. Let the people preserve their Ohio constitutional right to have a voice in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Sue Moore.
Well, I kind of don't know what to say tonight. I live on Marcy Road, close to here. I'm a Pickaway Countyan, graduated from Circleville High School, and a lot of my professional life was spent at the State House. And I thought I understood democracy, and I'm not feeling it right now. I don't fully understand what just happened, and I know you're not supposed to engage with me, but does everybody in the room here behind me understand what just happened? Raise your hand if you do not understand what happened tonight. Okay, I'm willing to give up some of my time, but let's walk through, if you would, precisely what the moves are from here, because I don't understand it. And I think I'm fairly sophisticated at understanding the legal system. Before I do that, or before I allow you to do that, I do understand what referendums are. I'm not sure of everything that Corey said. I also didn't understand a lot of that, so I must be having a bad day today. But I think the true democracy is to allow this to go to a referendum when the people vote. And it's not just you 5, I guess, or 6 people having to make that decision, because you can already feel the stress that this has caused the population of Asheville. I know I hear it a lot. And the referendum that'll be your true test of who wants this. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because it is my memory, which is getting a little thin, I guess, that Bert Klein, your village administrator, said in one of the early meetings that the only effect that people would see was an increase in their water bill by $125 if it was possible for you to sign for loans or whatever. Do I remember that correctly? Pretty much. So what you're saying then, Mr. Klein, and we've never really spoken, that it would be possible to have this problem solved without EdgeConneX if everyone in Asheville accepted the reality that their water bill was going to go up by $125. Is that a true statement?
It would start at $125, then their water bill would be on top of that.
And I think at one point, Councilman Burke was telling me that Asheville had some of the lowest water cost among many, many communities. So you're already at a relatively, and I have to believe him. I mean, I have no reason to disbelieve him. So you already got less expensive water, and it's going to be $125 on top of that. All right, who is a resident of Asheville here? Are you willing to pay $125 a month in order to not have the data center here? Yes. Okay, we're back to maybe me believing in democracy then. Listen to these people. Let it go to a referendum. Let it go to a referendum. I read Councilman, I don't want to call him Jesse. I read Jesse's post on Facebook today. I think it's the logical thing to do, and I think it will heal this community, truly. Now, could you walk through what the next steps are. So you're going to have a reading at the next council meeting. You can nod your head. Yes, that's going to happen. At that council meeting, you could take a vote to accept the resolution. Lost the word for a minute. So you could. It could, and you would need how many assenting votes?
Before.
Four people would have to say yes to passing the resolution. Now, with that resolution, you are committing to saying that you will advocate at the citing board that you're all on board for it. So I think the decision that you people, you wonderful people, Asheville Council, needs to make, do you want to be the sole responsible person for making this decision, or do you want to allow it to go on a referendum and let the people, you've got a small sampling here, willing to pay the extra $125 on top of their water bill? And I think you'll have your answer. And I will believe in democracy again. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Closing comments by council.
I've got some closing comments that I want to read, so I'll be a couple minutes, fellas. I appreciate your patience.
Okay.
First off, I want to thank everybody that came tonight and everybody that had feedback or comments for us. I appreciate that. I'm going to give a statement. I have a lot of thoughts I want to get out, so I kind of put it on paper so it was a little easier to articulate. So I'm going to close with this. I have never supported the data center project. I don't like the project coming to Asheville. I have nothing against data centers themselves. I feel like they are a part of our economy. I use AI at work. I use AI in my personal life. My issue initially is with the location. I've been transparent about that this entire time. I even pushed for the moratorium for the data centers. I pushed for the special meeting in December. I was behind all that because I do believe that we need to slow down. That is a fair thing. I think that I wish we could have done that, but we didn't move fast enough to get the moratorium in place, and we got a data center on that property. So there's not much we can do about that. The project will happen in some time, whether we like it or not. So, I mean, I've been pretty clear about that. I really appreciate how everyone has been engaged up at this point. But the truth of the matter, I feel, is that the time for a public debate about the village's infrastructure has ended a while ago. Like I was telling Dave earlier, you know, we are running out of time. So if we are truly going to be stuck with the data center, which I feel like we are, the village needs to make the right decision and gain from that, so that way we can fix our infrastructure and not have the EPA come in and take over. A lot of you are on social media. A lot of you guys see what I put out there today. All that stuff with the EPA is factual. Those are things that can happen. And I really don't want that for Asheville. So we are in a really, really tough spot right now. And I'm coming from a place where I feel like that we can potentially keep the EPA out and fix things. But whether we do that or not, I mean, I feel like we're still going to have a data center. So we really need to try to benefit from it as much as possible. So in addition to that, sorry, I lost my spot here, but anyways, going on from there. So there have been a lot of stuff has been kind of kicked on the wayside. Previous councils, previous mayors have let a lot of this stuff go. Previous administrators have let a lot of this stuff go. There was a point in time where our engineers weren't even involved in discussions with the EPA. So I feel like that, a lot of stuff like that happening has kind of brought us to this point. So I'm not blaming anybody by any means. There are a lot of folks that had a hand in it, whether it was old council, old administrators, old mayors, people that voted for those people as well. So I mean, everybody has a hand in this, but it's just the truth, and we just need to try to fix it the best that we can. So I'll leave with that. And then I wanted to also address a couple other things regarding social media. For weeks, council members, village staff members have been attacked on social media, have had terrible things said about them by people who attend these meetings, people who don't attend them, people who live here in town, and people who don't live here in town. I've tried to avoid responding online because Facebook is not where government is done. But when the comments turn into harassment and when people are being threatened, and even when my daughter has had people approach her at work here in town and have discussions with her about this stuff and make her feel in like an awkward position, I feel like that crosses a line, and it needs to stop. On numerous occasions, people have asked us how we would like to be remembered. I would also say the same thing to you. So, how do you want to be remembered when you're having discussions about government and things that are going on inside Asheville? So, in closing, I feel like the productive path forward is to let your current council do the job that we were elected to do. We cannot undo the past. So we can't reverse decisions that were made years before we took office. And what we can do, though, is try to manage the situation that we've inherited honestly, responsibly, and doing so in a commitment to protect the community as best as we can. So that being said, we are here to try and fix the future and do the best that we can. So I just appreciate your patience and understanding of that. So thank you.
I would like to add that, for years, I've been there. I've been sitting out here and I've been with my neighbors, my friends, and other people that actually live in the village. And there's been the complaints of our roads are terrible. The services are second to none. They're not up to standard and things of that nature. And one of the things why I put my name in the hat to run for office was like, I can't fix it sitting on the sideline complaining. So I put my name in the hat and I'm here. And for the glory, I ended up receiving the most votes, and I'll make sure I remind Dave of that regularly. But it's a 300 some vote out of a village of 4,000 people, probably 2,000 maybe eligible to vote. So that's a small sample size, just like the sample size here is small. Since being elected, I've been disappointingly surprised to see how the last 40 years of this village has been ran. Things have been kicked down the road. And to answer Dave's question as far as why now, it's because it wasn't done before. We cannot continue to kick things down the road. Some things are an emergency. We got to get things done, got to get EPA taken care of. We've already established that the data center is coming here. And it would be very foolish and not ethical of us to say the data center is coming here and turn down the funds that are going to be bestowed upon us to help the village out. The EPA, we are under a 6-month to 12-month thing where the EPA can come in and take over. And I will guarantee you that if the EPA has to come in and fix our infrastructure and it's not handled locally, the cost will be double or if not triple. And then that will be on the individual taxpayers of the village. And that is something that does keep me up awake at night. I am not for higher tax, higher services. We would be negligent if we did not take the funds that are available when there is going to be a data center and put that money on the backs of everybody in Asheville. And I like the people that, we have Corey, we have Sue, and we have Patty that are here. They asked for raised hands of you in Asheville that would want to pay them more money. They would not be obligated to pay them more money. I want to see them sign a commitment that they would pay for everybody who can't pay. That is what I would like for the people that speak about this, that do not live in the village, but want to tell us no. But they have no skin in the game. It's not going to be on those taxpayers. They're in here. It just isn't that way. It's here. The thing is, it's the responsibility of us to take care of the taxpayers in the village of Asheville, and that's our job. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I pretty much just echo what they would say. I came on the council because I was concerned about the water. I was concerned about the roads, and then this data center thing is just happening. And I, like Ron, I just threw my name in the hat. I realized that none of you voted for me. I was appointed on council, and I'm trying to do my best to earn your good faith and your trust. I know I haven't said a whole lot about what I feel about the data center. I'm not excited about this. When I first heard about it, my answer was absolutely not. I do not want this in our community. But becoming part of this council and getting access to the information that I have access to, that really all of you do, once you start looking for it, the answer is that once I figured out that we really can't do anything to stop it, we are a nation of laws, and the same laws that protect us, the same reason why the village can't come into your property and say, we want to rezone your land for something else, and you're going to have to move, is the same reason why we can't rezone the land unless the property owner asks us to do it. So it is already zoned limited industrial, which a data center is permitted to be built on that. That is the framework that I am basing all of my decisions on, is the fact that I feel like I'm coming onto this council, my hands are tied, that all of those things are in place and that there's not anything that we can do to stop it. So it comes to me as a responsible council member to try to put the village in the best situation that I possibly can. And if it has to be, in this case, fiscal and not with regards to anything else, then that's what I'm going to choose to do, because I appreciate that there are people who would want to pay a higher bill to prevent something like this from coming. I too would like that. But there's also folks in our community who are vulnerable, people who are on fixed incomes. There are single parent homes. There are families that are struggling to make ends meet. And I have to think about them. I do talk to my neighbors. I do talk to people that I go to church with. I talk to as many people as I can. And honestly, most of the conversations that I've had with anybody is that they're just indifferent to it. They're not excited about it. It's not like we're putting in a community pool or putting in a Disneyland here where people can really rally behind it. People are just indifferent to it. They're like, well, if this is the way it's got to be, then this is the way it's got to be. So I am trying to talk to people. I am trying to listen to you. Believe me, I hear everything that you're saying, and I hear everything that the people that I'm having conversations with are saying. And we're all up here just trying to do our best. You know, I'm an imperfect human being working with imperfect information, trying to do the best I can.
Well said.
Thank you. Dave?
Thanks, sir. I don't have a whole lot. I will tell you that there's a great deal what these guys said that I agree with. They're absolutely a great deal about the shape of the village, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes the worst position to be in is the oldest guy on council up here. Because running as the incumbent or doing whatever is sometimes a tough thing to do. We can't go back and change the past. As I said before, I've been on council, I think 12 years, and the water plant was built in 1934. And not a lot's been done to it since I was in high school. And it's one of the things I think we tried, and we went through a couple of different mayors, and long before I was on, mayors and village administrators, and we always attempted to and maybe this was the wrong tact. We always attempted to try to keep your taxes as low as possible. You pay 1% here, okay? That's about as low as the state's got. They might have a 0.75 somewhere. You pay 1% here. So that's what we were doing over the course of time, and it's like paint on on something that accrues over time. You look back and say, my goodness, this is now this old. I know we've got guys like Jim Welsh and guys like when Adam Kehoe was here, and that are out there every day, and Greg Sturgill on the streets are out there every day doing the good people's work. Okay, they work for us. When I go to work, I don't wear a uniform and I don't drive a car with the name of our business on it. These guys go to work every day in an Asheville truck. So by George, you see them, and they're out there working hard. So I just wanted to say that about that. I will just say this too, and I respect what y'all are saying about time frame, and that we've got to act now. Okay, Asheville's been a village for 144 years. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, ain't gonna change anything. And do your time and do your thing. I will also just say this, and I don't mean to single anybody out, and I won't single anybody out, but the innuendo or the implication that somebody up here is getting rich off of this offends me personally. Okay, yeah, I'm not in this position to make money. The first dollar I ever see from this, the next dollar I see will be the first dollar I see from this, and I wouldn't accept it in the first place. And I don't think any of these gentlemen would either. So we can all agree to disagree and disagree on certain things and certain items, but I don't doubt the integrity of anybody sitting up here. And I would hope that you find that in your heart to understand that we're just trying to do a very, very difficult job. And I thank you for your input, the people that have talked to me. I appreciate it. We'll figure out what we're going to do in the next 3 weeks. And as I said, I agree with a great deal of what these guys were saying, but we'll see how it shakes out. But thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.
Daryl?
I just agree with all my councilmen that they know what they're talking about, and I'm just here to do my part and speak for the people. That's it.
Regarding an update on the 2 police officers on administrative leave, we've been in contact with the prosecutor, and all we get out of the prosecutor is, I'm not taking this to the grand jury until I have the autopsy reports, and who knows when those will come in. This bothers me because these gentlemen were doing what they're trained to do, and if somebody points a gun at you, what are you going to do? But we're just a victim of circumstance here, and we're just doing the best we can, the police department, to live with it. Scooters. I asked the parents of kids with scooters a couple meetings back, please tell your kids that they have to obey the traffic rules that the state of Ohio has put down. And time and again, I see kids on scooters running stop signs, and somebody's going to get hit. If you have a child that has an electric scooter, please tell them that if the police see them, they're going to make sure that their parents know that they were given a warning. And the second time, a warning, and the third time, they'll get a citation. We just don't want anybody hit. As far as democracy, we have a council member that gave his life, put his life on the line over in the Middle East for 4 years as a Marine. And they fought for our freedom. And that's a freedom of choice, meaning you have an opinion and we have an opinion, and we shouldn't hate each other if we don't agree. Motion to close the meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, folks.